shame, there ain't no way. And though the treadmill's never ending, daddy's shoes still fit like gloves. Get fucked, we're not the same. Grab your wallet and get ready for the crisis of the week. Keep your fridge stocked at the expense of a half-month salary. Recover on the weekend, but you'd best not lose the grind. Keep 2 jobs for good measure, you still wanna have a life. Roll up your sleeves, they'll give you everything you need when you're at work. Life Wonderland. All they need is every minute of your week. So join the work-life Wonderland. Now you're too tired to be happy, so you pass out on the couch. They'll give you office pizza parties just to shut your mouth. You can work your ass off, but they'll still inherit all your funds. 40 hours, 40 weeks for 40 years, and then you're done. Roll up your sleeves, they'll give you everything you need when you're at work. Life Wonderland. All they need is every minute of your week. So join the work-life
Introducing hashtag Team Yahawashai, your portal to becoming actual reality witnesses. Only on the Yahawashai News Network.
Welcome to the new podcast, Flash Flood Fridays, where we cover everything weather modification related. How are you doing in the secret disaster zone this evening, brother?
I'm glad to be here tonight. Thanks everyone for tuning in. This is quite a this is quite an interesting story that we found ourselves actually on the front lines of.
Yeah, front lines, boots on the ground, literally trapped still. So if you caught our earlier podcast, we're trapped because of the flash floods that took place in Travis County. Not the one that you've heard about, not the one that took place in Kirk County. This took place the day after, same time frame. It was early in the morning around 3 a.m., but on the morning of the 5th. And our neighborhood is massive devastation. In fact, we had 10 inches more rain than what they had in Kerrville. So they had like 12.5 inches. We had 22.5 inches that fell the next day, and our neighborhood is devastated. There's actually a lot of loss of life, and we're down by the bridge not that long ago this afternoon, and bodies are still continuing to be recovered right near the bridge area where we're at. And there's been a escalation in tension because we've been trapped this long. And the neighborhood is going stir crazy. And finally now there is starting to become a little bit of news coverage, but I gotta express how upset I am about how the tragedy that took place where we're at is actually being used to support what happened in Kerrville. And because our devastation was maybe on a scale that was worse, considering that we had 10 inches more rain come down. So it go ahead and start telling people, some of the little bit of the backstory, where we're at now, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So, it really hits home when you start to see the beautiful lives that have been lost here in this tragedy. It's, it's not the same. We cover tragedies all the time. We cover false flags, psyops, hoaxes, real incidences. And to be right here, literally watching bodies recovered today, and to see the desensitization, and to see the traumatic, to see the way the trauma is moving through the community, to also see the strength and the people banding together to do what little that they can, it leaves you sort of in sometimes in a good mood. Sometimes it's hard when you see the pictures of the animals that were recovered. We're grateful to see a lot of animals that were recovered, but the lives, the past bodies, the people that are unalive that are starting to pile up, it's tough to go through. It's tough to go through. And then on top of that, everybody between the county that we're in, Travis County, and it borders between that and Williams County, right? Is it, or Williamson?
Williamson
County. I want to make sure I have all the names correct. I drew a blank for a second. To see the counties that are having issues coordinating together, and what ended up happening, I don't know if you have that post for later. They turned away people that wanted to come down and start helping to locate the bodies of the missing people, and they've turned away resources and help. And so now we're a full week. To this tonight, tomorrow early in the morning will be the 7th day. We're a full week over as to when this happened, and we're still haven't been given access to get our vehicles out to go to work. And the people in the community here are starting to, we've run out of money. A lot of people, they barely get by. And this tragedy happened right after the first of the month, where most people pay the rent. So they were strapped. And then the next week to go to work, they couldn't. And I'm sure everybody was celebrating for July 4th, where they probably spent a good amount of money on food and fireworks and everything. And people are really the ones that, so the bridge was open the day that the flood happened. People were able to get out and go to the grocery store. But the very next day, the police set up barricades, and they wouldn't let anybody cross the bridge, because there had been some issues where people were still being swept away in the low water crossings, and they didn't want to see more tragedy take place. This has turned into a huge issue. We have another spot in the community where there is an access road that goes through a creek, the same Sandy Creek that we're having the bridge out on, but it's an easier passing, and trucks could go through there, but that goes through somebody's private property. And it looks like the county's not allowing them, because of liability, to allow people just want to get their cars to the other side of the bridge and park them. There's a giant space now where homes have been washed away on the other side of the bridge, where people from within the community that have been trapped here for the week want to put their vehicles there so that they can go to work. And that's not being facilitated. And what ended up happening today was people were ready to drive across the bridge. The bridge is passable, right? It's not completely, it hasn't fallen apart. It's still passable, but they won't allow people to. And the people really wanted to go through, and everybody tried. And it came to the point where the military helicopters and the SWAT team showed up, and we had to tell everybody, let's go, everybody go home, because the worst possible thing that you can do in a tragic situation is make things worse. Now, we know that the bridge is completely passable. I think a fire truck went over it the first day. We can get the cars across it and parked on the other side, but you have the sheriffs and the police, and their job is to keep everybody safe, and they don't want anybody to have the bridge collapse. They don't want any more loss. So they're told, don't let anybody cross. It's a felony. You go to jail for it. So everybody's in these difficult situations, and to be a part of all this, and while this is taking place and being filmed, you got bodies being recovered in the background. You've got tons of lives that have been lost here. And it's not being covered correctly in the media. They're taking videos and screenshots and pictures of our area, and then they're creating posts and stories and videos in Kerr County while using the devastation that happened here. And they've got I'm almost done my long-winded rant. They had this big meeting today, Dr. Phil and Donald Trump and was it Kristi Noem, and all these people were celebrating all how great they are and how Texas strong, and Abbott. And not once did they mention about helping people out here in Travis County or Williamson County or in any other hill country, creeks and cities, Cow Creek, where there's been far more devastation up north than what took place down at the Mystic Camp. And I think when you hear them saying, oh, $5 million have been allocated to help out the people at Mystic Camp, and they've got like hardware stores that they're starting to build, and you've got people that are trapped here that have diseases that can't even get out to the doctors. They've got surgeries and appointments and people that need to go to work to feed their families, and we can't get across the bridge. And, they just started finally today at 12:30. They started to make a low water crossing, but of course it's a double wide where they have all this extra work to do. And they're telling us that it's going to rain all weekend. And so it's going to be even longer before we're able to get across the bridge. And anyone else, it's just been, at first, I guess I was in shock, and now the devastation is slowly starting to hit when I'm seeing the death still. And you can go down there and you can smell that it's not just, trees and stuff that are trapped in the water. And because they didn't act swiftly and they don't have a coordinated group that are taking care of it, things are still there. And it's, all this Texas strong and all this stuff. And it feels awfully like there's a big issue that took place here at Sandy Creek that the story needs to get out there.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because Travis County is the county that Austin's in. So, I mean, this Travis County is the capital county of the state of Texas. And we're, like you were saying, we're hearing all this Texas strong, and, Trump saying the Texans are great, and Abbott saying the Texans are great and we can take care of ourselves. But the interesting thing is how many of you have all heard that we got 10.5 more inches of rain in Travis County than they got in Kerr County? And so there's been this weird media game that's been taking place while we've been isolated and actually, quarantined. We've been literally quarantined into the neighborhood, and things have gotten really weird. So we've got some extreme mismanagement issues that are taking place here in Travis County. Us being conspiracy theorists, we got to ask ourselves, was this a targeted attack? Because there's not too many people that are actually going to sit down and talk to you straight shooter style as to weather manipulation, because that is the talk that has come out of this incident. And if you're a conspiracy theorist, by now you've probably heard about cloud seeding and weather manipulation as related to the incident here in Texas. And so they're publicly bringing out this rainmaker company. We've got this new Peter Thiel fellow that wants to regulate. He wants to be the leading guy in setting up the legislation regarding cloud seeding and weather manipulation. So this is a new podcast series that we've created because we're not going to stop with this topic. It's being brought out into the open now. It's something that people can't deny because literally the news articles, all these things, they've been saying it for the last 10, 15 years that weather manipulation works. It's being used, and nobody's been paying attention until now. We have this major headline, and then it's put into this whole Camp Mystic thing. So from our spiritual perspective, we see a form of spiritual warfare where this is a multifaceted attack that's taking place. The population's being loosed hardcore right now, and it does look like it's part of plots that they've had in place for a long time. There was a similar church camp style thing that even turned into a movie that happened in 1987 in the Kerrville area. And so, yeah, Texas is flash flood prone. But what we're talking about right now, where you get 22.5 inches of rain, I mean, that's almost 2 feet, people. I don't know if you can imagine how much rain that is. And you put that into Texas Hill Country, where the hills themselves are rock, right? It's rock and gravel. And so the water just runs down to the lowest point, and we have low creek crossings that are usually dry, right?
Creeks.
Most of the time we don't have water running in them, but when we have heavy rainfalls, they do flash flood. So the area that we're at in Travis County, the creek, Sandy Creek, has been identified as a serious flash flood risk, but now the reports are coming out that absolutely nothing's been put into mitigation for these flash flood risks. So we're really sitting in the heart of a disaster zone in a corner of the county that nobody wants to take responsibility for. And somehow they've been allowed to keep a whole community of people trapped on the other side of a bridge for a week now. And put that into perspective, everybody. What would it be like for you if you're not able to leave where you live for a week? It ends up becoming traumatizing. Yep. And today we saw the culmination of events where we were told that the police had called in the SWAT team. And that's when we decided that we were going to turn around, walk away, and we're going to come podcast about it. So, yeah, we've got videos. We want to go through what we're personally boots on the ground witnessing here, because it seems to be part of a larger agenda. I don't know why Travis County would try to treat our subdivision as bad as it is without some sort of a purpose. I mean, it's really cruel and inhumane, right?
Well, it's really tough because there's these situations that we encounter in our lives. I'm sure everybody tuning in knows that you'll never get a resolution to it. It's one of those situations where you have to make peace with it and understand what actually took place. And that's what we're hoping to do. We're hoping to learn more about these weather manipulation tactics. Now, I do know that Austin is still in what they call a drought. I think once the lake continues to be filled up, which it still is, like, ladies and gentlemen, the creek that we have in the backyard here that was devastated is a dry creek bed. It is still to this day, 7 days later, flowing with water from our like basic area, just the surrounding area. The water is still flowing through that area. Now, it's great that the aquifers and the lakes and the rivers from Burnett all the way down throughout Lake Austin that are now going to be full. They're going to have the ability to water the grass and feed the animals and create the power generation from the dam. This is all great, the Mansfield Dam. But the fact that there were so many lives lost, and whenever we hear the talk of, why there wasn't sirens at these low water dams and crossings, why there weren't other mitigations or disaster plans set up in place, we're hearing it mocked. We're hearing only losers talk about what went wrong. It's crazy to be inside a group of people that are trapped, where there are ways out. There is a quick low water crossing that they could do through somebody's property, but the city, I guess the county won't allow it. They won't quickly put in some gravel in a small culvert. There's an easy way to get us out and park our cars outside of the disaster. They won't do it. And we can't understand as to why this is taking place. Like I said, we're never going to get a complete resolution as to what's going on. But what we can do is try to warn people that manipulation of the weather is not going to work out well. If you think that feeding the weather, causing it to rain in one area because it's arid and dry and in drought, is going to have serious ramifications through areas where that water was supposed to fall, right? We as humans
Well,
should occupy positions and places throughout this earth that are abundant in these things. We shouldn't be terraforming in a way that's causing devastation and death.
let's go ahead and talk about one of the key topics with regards to weather manipulation right up front, and that is whether or not it's a responsible practice or not. And so we are not anti-technology people whatsoever. We like technology. We're surrounded by it. We utilize it the best that we can. And so the idea of being able to cloud seed and make it rain, off the top, actually sounds like a great idea, because we have all these hydroelectric dams. And what that means to me right up front is, okay, that means that you can fill the reservoirs and you can just have all this free hydroelectric dam if this type of science, this type of technology works. And so we're gonna be going through all the pros and cons of this technology, because there is an upside to it where they are able to trigger clouds to make it rain. But the question is whether or not there's environmental impacts, and that has to do whether or not you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and whether or not the stuff that you're spraying is going to have large-term ecological damages as well. So we're going to be looking at this from both sides, where, you know, maybe there are ways to responsibly cloud seed and to keep everybody's taps running well. Everybody can water their lawns and have nice green lawns, and we could keep the dams full of water and have all this electricity. I mean, those things sound good, but we're finding out that there's a downside to this geoengineering as well, right?
Well, if they want to clean out the gutters, if they want to call what we've been through Operation Cleaning Out the Gutters, right, which they've done, they've got the dams and the creek beds and everything completely cleared out now, right, without having to bring too much machinery in. I think they need to take care of the victims, right, and relocate people that live in these low water areas and never let anyone live there again, because the devastation and the death that it's caused, the beautiful people that have been lost because of this, their voices need to be heard. They need to be remembered, and not on some political gain, right? No, this is the part that I completely agree with you, Jason. If there is a way to responsibly utilize the environment without taking from Peter to give to Paul, I agree with you. If this is a safe practice, and that's what Augustus is saying, right? He's saying that Genesis gives him the right to steward the sky, the land, and the seas, and to everything take dominion over all of the earth. But at what end does the cloud seeding and the deaths that have caused by this tragedy, are those an acceptable? Is this acceptable for the cost of lives?
See, that's the thing. If you can't control this, where you don't just all of a sudden drop 22.5 inches on a hill country neighborhood and wash the entire neighborhood away, if you can't control that, then it would be irresponsible to use.
Yeah. What's going to happen this weekend when we didn't see rain in the forecast, or we did a little bit, but is it going to be 10 more inches? What's going to happen? Are they just going to keep doing this? You know, these are the questions that I have. We're
going to be tracking these things because Chicago got hit, North Carolina got hit. I'm sure people in the chat can, in New Mexico. So flash flood Fridays and weather modification. This is going to be something that we'll continue to talk about, you know, until the Great Tribulation truly begins, and these types of cloud seeding programs and weather manipulation, they all get put on park, because it's going to be the last thought in most people's mind. Oh, let's go cloud seed, when, you know, there's the things that the book of Revelations talks about happening, the first 7 seals, the first 7 trumpets. So what do you say we start getting into some of our local stuff that we were going through?
Yeah.
And then after we've gone through this, then we'll get into the weather manipulation tech, right?
Yeah, that sounds great. Let's so what we're going to put up on the screen now is a meeting. So there's been a number of meetings, and we didn't get an update as to when the next meeting will be. But this was a meeting that took place today. We were just lucky enough to be there. In the discussion of the community that people are they're really needing to get their cars across the bridge.
Yeah, so this is the beginning. This is our guy that's become our talking head for this whole scenario. And I'm going to be putting his contact information up on the screen because there's some serious issues, and this guy, he's the guy that's in control. This is what he's done is he's unqualified. He's unfit for his position.
Nope.
This is our guy here, Chuck. Charles, but he goes by Chuck. All right, where's the pause here? So this is CBS Austin that's out here. He was already forewarned that there might be some problems here. Yeah. So Chuck's walking in on this with the local news rolling, and everybody here in the community that's trapped. Everybody's got their phones out. Everybody's going to be recording.
A large group.
Not everybody. Yeah.
And keep in mind, some of these people have lost friends, family members, animals, children. Like, it's no joke. It's,
oh, you did? Okay. Yeah, Joe just got it.
Literally in the background of this, our bodies being recovered.
I got it.
Chuck, good to see you again. Good. John. Because I don't want to be holding it. I'll just put it right in the...
That was a home washed away behind this shot. It washed into the homes on that side of the street.
Yeah.
And this is right about where my phone hit full storage. And then we switch over to...
That's the drone footage.
I gotta find it. Or two.
Okay. And then one follow-up question. Related to the 5-day schedule, do you as the executive, do you have a project schedule with the milestones so you know whether the contract is being on schedule? How are you knowing?
We have a public works director with our transportation and
natural. All right, that is not super loud. I'm going to try to crank it up a little.
Manager on this, I'm not, but I am working side by side with
from
them
the
so that I can
properties, advanced.
Mm-hmm.
You can get it. I'll just mute.
Yep.
You have to move it out of the way so you can monitor the volumes. Move it to the top right, please. And then you have to move it up high enough so that you can see the volume below until it runs into the peak. Thank you. You gotta go way up. Probably to 11, 12.
This guy's voices are coming through, but that's pretty quiet. Let me see if I got some better audio later on.
Family, so we can get back to work. So it's been a week, so that is crucial.
I understand.
Okay, now so kind of
go ahead.
What you were saying. You mentioned that the inspectors said that it was a 5,000 capacity with repairs.
With repairs.
And I don't
right
know
here, they're talking about the bridge.
Right now, but can we explore the idea or the possibility of maybe making those repairs so that we can have the bridge accessible at some point in the near future? And
yeah, it's good.
That repair would be so that we could have one vehicle.
Didn't mean to interrupt you. They're definitely, they need to identify whether the bridge can and should be repaired or whether the bridge should be replaced. That decision hasn't been made. I don't know that the engineering studies, that they've had the ability to get in there and do the analysis. I don't know. I'm outside my lane when we're talking about engineering reports and bridge work, sir.
So really, on the y'all bringing all these big trucks in the back way, why can't we just use that to get
One
started?
So, if you don't mind,
just
thank you
asking.
for the segue. I'm moving on to the next thing I would like to talk about with y'all. So we have been, we're all aware of the Sunset Ranch.
Yes.
The family that owns that ranch is very interested in helping their community. We have been meeting with them, met with them today. Their primary focus is providing access for first responder vehicles into this neighborhood so that y'all have that access. We do have fire vehicles that came across yesterday. They've got a water tender parked on the property so that they can bring water to the fire apparatus. So we have that fire protection with emergency medical. All of the firefighters are EMTs, I think you probably know that. So we've got medical first response and fire protection in the neighborhood now. And that's thanks to TIFMAS, that is the Texas Intrastate Fire Mutual Aid System. You'll see firefighters and trucks from around the state, all right? They'll have markings from Bay City, markings from Corpus. There'll be different trucks responding to that TIFMAS call. And TIFMAS controls that, and they wanted to put those folks in there and they're here. So the family's first priority is providing access for public safety, first responders. That's what's already in place. They're also interested in safely providing access if we can work out the details.
Jason? It's probably going to be really loud.
It's not actually.
No, when I talk.
Oh yeah. I can bring it down. Go ahead.
Yes, that instantly brought it down. You have to go back up to 11. So the second day that we were trapped in here, Jason Googled a path out, and it was through a back street and then through a gated fence across somebody's backyard. They have entrance to a road on the other side of their property through again a low water creek, low water passageway. And they allowed fire trucks. So there's trucks were sent up here from Galveston, just huge fire trucks. Water trucks were sent up here from Galveston because during this time of us being trapped, if anybody has a fire, right, which luckily they brought in the garbage, we would have burned the garbage. We probably would have caused a serious problem. They're there to respond, right? So the family that lives there, apparently they're being threatened. People are threatened to kill them because they're not allowing. So the people that live in this neighborhood just want to put their vehicles on the other side of the bridge. There's parking. There's a spot where everybody in the neighborhood can park their cars on the other side.
People's homes washed away
in those spots.
Yeah.
And they're not allowing us to go through. They're making us wait. And now they've started to do this low water crossing. And now they're telling us that it's, possibly 5 days, day and night, they're going to work. They're still working tonight. And what they're saying is that it's going to rain, so they're going to have to stop. So we're going to have an even longer break. And these people have a path on their property. And yeah, it's their property, but this is a tragedy. People need to get their vehicles outside. But the other issue is that there's people that can't walk. They're not physically capable. They're sick that live in our neighborhood, and they're not able to even walk across the bridge. And they're not allowing anybody to even take a side-by-side across the bridge. And this is the problem is that they're not helping. They're not doing anything about any of these people.
Yeah, well, and that family who owns the private property where they brought their fire trucks and stuff across the property is speaking to people that are trapped here and letting them know that it's Travis County that is actually holding up the process as far as allowing the residents in the community to go through their property, because they've expressed that they want to let the people in the community out. They would like to have like a officer at the front gate and the back gate just to make sure that nobody's messing around with their stuff as they're going through, and that's totally valid and reasonable, and everybody would be for that. But it's Travis County that's telling them that they don't want to assume the liability of allowing us to get out of the neighborhood. And so at a certain point, he tries to spin it another way, that it's the homeowner that's holding things up, when actually it's come out that it's Travis County advising the homeowner on their interest and telling them not to do it.
That's crazy.
And so this is the guy that's actually responsible for our quarantine. He's the executive of emergency operations. I'm going to be bringing up his name, his phone number, his email. And I really do hope that this guy gets enough complaints to either shape him up or ship him out.
It's a disaster. You know, the thing is, brother, how is this going to ever get better? What he's done is done. The fact that, again, the second day, right, when they closed off the bridge, they should have allowed, like I told the officers today, they should have allowed everybody to move their cars that lived in our community to the other side of the bridge. Now, luckily, the people that live down there, there's a group of them, were able to do that. There were a small group of us that were lucky enough to move their vehicles. Not us, but there were a group. And all they had to do was facilitate that. The sheriffs easily could have facilitated today people moving their cars, small vehicles. Nobody wanted to take like big work trucks across. They wanted to move. There were a few pickups in the lineup. There were probably 50 people there with their cars that truly need to get to work. Again, people need to survive. They need to get back to work. And because of him, they're telling the other way out that this is the liability that we don't want to. It's weird how it seems to be coming down to money. We've been waiting for them to do the low water crossing, and it turns out they were waiting to have bids accepted. Like there's been there's people in the neighborhood that have concrete trucks, that have all the equipment to fix the actual
people that
bridge.
actually build bridges and low water crossings in the neighborhood.
Live right beside us, literally, and they have. Well, you'll hear it.
To this community.
You got to go to 11. You just go to it and then type in 11.
Today, we're working on the details. We can get an agreement in place, and hopefully within the next couple of days, I'm not sure, y'all, but we're working on it as fast as possible. Give y'all some access through that property.
I need to stop you right here, okay? And I need to ask a few questions. We've also got people in this community who have been in touch with folks on that ranch.
Okay.
And it's our understanding that the county is the holdup. So can you speak to that? Because from what we understand on this side is that they have said, yes, you can come through here, but the county has been the holdup saying we only want emergency vehicles.
That is not true.
So what is the holdup? And don't just say details, tell us. What is the holdup?
Of course, we want to make sure that
we don't need dead air. Don't fill dead air. What is the holdup?
I'm trying to formulate it. I'm trying to.
That's private land.
It is private.
I'm up with a
You
lie.
guys don't control that.
Of course we don't. Right.
So why would you guys tell them that we can't access
We
it?
have not told them you can't access it. We are working with them so that you can access it. That's what we're working with.
The landowner that was here earlier this morning, and
Okay.
she told me that the county wants some sort of document to say that they are not
Indemnification.
responsible for anybody getting injured. That's what the landowner told me.
Okay.
And she says that she has not. We're like, okay, well, let us have that, and that's not happening. So
It's actually, I'm going to flip that around. We want to make sure that they are.
He says
they
I'm
are-
gonna flip
they
that
are
around.
Not at risk. That's what the county wants to make sure that they are not at risk for access that they're providing.
She told me that their family is.
So he says the county wanted to make sure that they're not at risk. So he absolutely admitted that they are advising this private property owner to not allow the rest of the community to use the low water crossing because they're advising them that they would be at risk. Right? So now all of a sudden everybody's got to sign a waiver to cross the low water crossing. So this type of bureaucracy is the type of shit that drives me absolutely wild. This guy right here if he was in a raging flash flood and I was standing on the bank of the river or at a bridge or whatever, and I had a rope to throw him, this guy would be the guy that says, you need to make me sign a waiver, right, before you actually throw me that rope, because if I grab onto the rope and pull you off the bridge, you'd be able to sue me, right? That is the type of logic that is being processed through this person right here, and this is literally the holdup to our community's restoration.
Ready to sign off on anything they need to, or at least examine that, or have somebody take a look if they haven't been presented.
So I'm not an attorney, but indemnification letter doesn't take very long.
Nope.
I mean, an indemnification letter, that sort of agreement,
Listen,
you guys have cookie cutters of those, I know.
Can we do it like a hand? They come down next Saturday, and when you meet here, and you say they say yes, you say yes, and make it happen. I mean, yeah.
No, not Saturday.
Tomorrow.
Right now.
Tomorrow.
Right now.
I would just like to say thank you to that family for they're willing to open the gates. We have to have the right document in place that protects them and protects y'all.
Have you given them that document?
That's not your position. You don't have to stand up and protect them. They could allow us to go through, and you are the one that's being the resistance to it.
Can I please talk about that part now? The lady, I just got done talking to them. She's actually scared from, they're right now scared for their life, because people are actually threatening them right now, because they are working with them. The only thing they want is their cattle, their goats and stuff protected. They were asking them to provide that if they can, so we can have a crossing.
Go ahead.
So it's again, now it's coming down to they need some money or some sort of protection from the county to protect their, like if it's sheriffs, they've had 5-6 sheriffs there every day, all day. They can easily put 2 up there, but it sounds more like there's something else.
No, look at the body posture on this guy. Does he actually look like somebody that's out here trying to help this community be able to get out of their neighborhood, get out of quarantine, be able to get back to a normal day life? No, he just wants to be the bearer of bad news, and he's willing to shoulder it.
That's crazy. It's to have this be the leader of the disaster zone. It's just like, I mean, right away, day 2, they should have had the culverts put in. Ladies and gentlemen, they haven't been able to clean up the disaster zone where there are dead bodies. Still, we're going on it's the 7th day that are inside the creek beds that were at the bottom of our road, because this guy is dragging his feet.
The camera guy that's here filming this, he had his shots from the bridge showing the bodies being removed from the trees.
In the background of this video, there are bodies being removed today. They finally got there to take the dead bodies out, and there's more. There is more. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to get that graphic. Like, I'm just letting you know what's going on. But the real concern is those that are alive here, that have lost family, lost friends, lost pets. They need to go to work, and they closed the bridge down. They let us drive across it on Saturday, but on Sunday, when everybody went to go down there, they barricaded it up, and they've had cops on both sides of it. And if you cross the barricades, you're going to jail. And so here we are. There was one other way out, and they've gone and told those people that they're not guaranteeing the liability. And now this guy across the way here is saying they want their goats and cows to be protected. So I guess they need some sort of fencing. Oh, I don't know. We went down there and we saw the path. We knew that they were letting in the water trucks. As soon as we seen them, I knew where they came in. But this is where we're at.
Yeah.
Put a sheriff there to watch.
Right now, so these are the details. I'll give you some of the details that we're working on. All right. This is what we would like to do.
And all they have done is help us.
I'm sorry.
All they have done is helped us, and they're literally in tears back there right now at the end of the road because people are threatening them on social media.
I would ask that,
So please, whoever's doing all this though, on posting on TikTok or whoever, please let them know they are helping us 100%. They're trying to allow access.
We got it.
Okay?
Yeah. So we are finalizing the details on an agreement. The details include law enforcement at either gate to ensure security on the site. We need, because there is a low water crossing on that site. Today it was about 16 inches of water moving pretty swiftly down a creek. Okay, that's a hazard. We don't want to mitigate it. We don't want to take the time to build another low water crossing there. We just want to let people drive through it, but we can only allow access to work trucks, 4x4s, big vehicles that can actually ford a low water crossing safely, right? So when we do get this in place, this is what I'm anticipating. Your work trucks, the 4-wheel drive vehicles, those kinds of things would make it through. A minivan, a family sedan will not make it through a low water crossing at that level. Okay. So we want to make sure that you can get your work trucks out, that you can get your work trucks in. We want to minimize the risk to the family on that ranch. So our idea is to keep the access limited to time during the day, work hours. 5:30 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m., whatever's going to work best.
We would be satisfied with a one-time trip out.
That's all we
Just to get our cars to the parking lot over.
Out, not in. Out, not in.
Yesterday when you left, we tasked you with two major questions. One, bring us an answer.
So I'm going to pause here and just talk about how, as a community, this group of people has gotten together and come up with the idea that so the bridge itself is still standing, even though there's some washed out at the entrance ramp and the exit ramp of the bridge itself. And so it's because of that washout that they're keeping us here. So the community came up with, they said it was capable of holding 5,000 pounds. It took a fire truck and an alignment truck across it already. So we know that it can handle some weight. So the idea is to put vehicles of less than 5,000 pounds across the bridge one at a time, just to get them out of the neighborhood to the other side, and that they wouldn't use the bridge again to come back in. And that's the idea that the community came up with, and is going to try to present it to this guy right now. Good.
On the sunset and get us a very detailed answer as to why we are not crossing this bridge, which we know can support some amount of weight.
I'll be the first one to go.
I'll sign any waiver you have.
And listen to me when I tell you this. Folks are getting out.
Yep.
Folks are getting out. Cones, water barriers, county troopers out here, they're not going to stop it. So your best option right now is to control the exit of traffic from this neighborhood as best you can.
Absolutely.
Because they're getting out. They're not waiting 5 days. We appreciate the low water. And listen, they don't want to come back.
We don't.
They don't want to come back. They're not saying they want to go to the gym and come back, or go to P. Terry's and come back. They need out.
We need to get to work.
They need a way to get to work, and they're going to get out, and it's going to be through here. So the best thing that you can do is mitigate that. You have a bunch of people here who have agreed to get out and not come back. We know that bridge will support an amount of weight. And we have the people back here have also agreed to limit that amount of weight. I don't think anybody back here is saying I need to get my skid loader, my gooseneck. Nobody's saying they want any of that stuff out. We need minivans, we need sedans to get out here so that they can get to doctor's appointments, so they can get to work, so they can feed their families. And I'm just telling you, it's happening. It's going to happen. So if you didn't come with a plan to mitigate that, you better get one real quick, because it's going to happen.
Okay.
And the plan better not be a rest that does it, because then it's going to be even a bigger shit show.
That's really it.
One way. We're not coming back. We're just going to park in the parking lot over here.
It's time to go.
Agreed on those. All those signs say, right? That is a times 5 liability on it.
And we all saw fire trucks and electrical trucks pass this thing like crazy.
DC came over with no problem.
Not to mention we've all been in and out.
Yeah,
So-
it's time to go.
And listen, we're not saying we're going to just line up and speed across this thing. Absolutely. We're going to monitor the bridge.
One at a time.
And we're willing.
We're going to go one at a time. We're going to stick to the far left where the undermining is the least.
On the side.
But it's happening.
And take our license plate numbers. You will not see them until you deem this bridge passable or whatever.
They will not come back in.
We will
They
not
will
come back
go
in.
out.
We've got to get out. We have to.
Then we don't
Your
need to go
sheriffs,
through
your
her.
sheriffs aren't arresting everybody, and they're damn sure not shooting us for trying to get out of a neighborhood to go to work.
That's it.
Excuse my language. I apologize.
No, you hit the nail on the head.
Okay, that's definitely getting out there.
It's getting out there.
I'll sign it.
He's referring to the cameraman filming that.
Making sure
Just one way out.
one goes across, because y'all have already posted a 5,000 pound limit, which is a ×5 safety factor. So please let us cross the bridge.
Okay, one pass.
Excuse me,
Folks,
sir.
thank y'all for that.
I just hate to
Yes,
say
sir.
this to you, but
Yep.
unfortunately, I wouldn't want your job right now for nothing at all. And I understand what you're saying. I mean, I hate to say it, but you're the dead-gum sacrificial lamb out here tonight. And unfortunately, I'm a bridge inspector. And I've worked for TxDOT, CTR.
So here's the bridge inspector's testimony.
People for a damn long time. I had color in my hair back then. But what I was going to say is, the bridge, what I see bad with the bridge right now, yes, it's shifted, but it's shifted on the SEJ. It's shifted on the joints on each end. They went over the.
Go ahead.
But now you got to turn.
Yeah. You're good.
So, he's talking about a way to just make the bridge usable again, not just right this moment. And you know, the guy basically, we're at the end of it. So what ended up happening was, the people started to line their cars up, and the sheriff moved his vehicle out of the way, stopped the construction workers, stopped all the traffic on the road, and called the SWAT and was ready to take everybody to jail that was going to pass the road. So we ended up calling it, told everybody to go home, get out of here. It's not worth it. We're at the end now. He basically said this is going to get out there, and he didn't say anything else after this. There was some people that started maybe raising their voice, or that's not on this clip. It happened before. There were a few people that were yelling and screaming, and they had to be carried away from the meeting. And nobody got to cross the bridge. Nobody. And that's just the way that it's going to be. And there's no way they're going to let us in. They're not making an active plan. None of that was discussed at all.
And here we are 7 days in, and they're telling us 5 days.
Maybe actually longer, because they're telling us that it's going to pour and rain all weekend.
Yeah. All right. So this guy right here, this is Emergency Services. The Travis County Executive of Emergency Services oversees the offices. So he oversees these offices of emergency management, fire marshal, technology and communications. Starflight serves as a liaison for the Commissioner's Court with the Medical Examiner's Office and the Emergency Services District rural fire departments throughout the county. So executive staff, the county executive, Charles Brotherton, or Chuck as he's going by, his number is 512-854-4416. This is his email right here. And anybody that wants to advocate for actual victim, like emergency services, like where if you have an emergency situation, the last person that you want to show up is Chuck, because he's going to tell you that we've got a couple ideas, and then a week from then he's going to tell you, well, those ideas aren't panning out, and it might be another week, and we don't know, we're not sure, but you're going to be arrested, and we're bringing in the SWAT team if you try to let yourselves out of our trap.
Over a bridge that was passable. We all used it on Saturday, and it was Sunday they shut it down when they shut it down, they should have given the people that live here, they should have said, you can take your car to the other side of the road, and then that's it. And they didn't offer us that, and they've had us locked in here. It's Charles Brotherton. He's the
To
one.
drop this.
He's the one dealing with the whole entire disaster relief, and it's really sad, everybody, to be a part of this. I don't know if we're gonna. Oh yeah, there's a few updates I'd like to do before we do the song break. There was the Fox News 7 and the lady from the church that we met. I want to do those 2 videos that I sent you in no particular order, please. And then we'll do a song break and we'll get into the cloud seeding stuff.
Let's put a little bit better
I hope you turned the volume down.
Yeah.
Okay, you did good.
Let's go ahead. Get a little bit better background.
Get Charles off there. I'm really disappointed in Charles. And this image that you're seeing of the bridge cut off is what they've been using for Kerr County meetings, for Kerrville. They've been showing our disaster zone and then using it to promote the relief funds and disaster zones, and they're nowhere near each other.
Yeah, Kerrville didn't get 22.5 inches. They got like 12.5.
Still, it's flooded.
The 17-year-old girl is found near Cow Creek on Monday morning. This brings the death total to 7 people. The community on the other side of Big Sandy Creek feels trapped.
For the most part,
feels.
We are trapped.
Isolated right now, and until they can do something with the bridge and see what they can do and allow people to go back across it again.
The bridge is the only way in or out of the neighborhood in Leander, but it has become increasingly unstable.
So this is the Big Sandy Bridge that originally washed out the last big storm we had probably 15 years ago. They rebuilt it. It has shifted 8 inches. So we have it shut down. It's not safe to pass right now.
With chunks of the bridge now in the river, other pieces are cracked, crumbled, or absent. People were driving 4-wheelers and ATVs across it to bring in water, food, and other resources. But the crossings were limited to 4 people at a time on Monday just to be safe.
So at the moment, it's just foot persons only across the bridge. So we are bringing stuff to the other side and carrying it over with we've only got 3.
So this woman here showed up on Sunday and Monday and Tuesday. She's long gone. We had no idea who she was. And on Wednesday, the only people that were allowed to cross the road were on foot. And the bridge is capable of a fire truck crossing over it still. In this piece here by Fox 7 Austin, they were saying the bridge was becoming increasingly more unstable, and that's a bold-faced lie. The bridge is in the exact same shape that it was Sunday after the water receded. It didn't continue to get any worse. The concrete hasn't cracked. The bridge where the water washed it away is at the entrance and the exit point. It's still very passable. They're literally just using this, it looks like, as a media stunt.
Yeah. Set up the camera crews and watch all the people from our neighborhood have to walk across the bridge and grab water bottles because,
with radio flyers.
But we're just making do.
Sparking worries for how long it will take to get it fixed so they can return to work.
My boss at work has already told me that you do what you need to do to take care of you and your family and your neighbors. And so I'm here.
Nobody's paying him.
I'm here.
Days after the catastrophic flooding.
We still have bodies that haven't been found.
Several people are still missing in Travis County. Here goes one of those helicopters right now with search and rescue, looking for anyone who may still be out here.
We're just in shock and awe right now, just as to what's happened, you know, and we never expected anything like this.
They were thankful for getting running water again after 3 days of not being able to shower, brush their teeth, or flush their toilets.
Everybody's going to have to understand that this is where we are.
And we were without internet.
We can, but it's hard.
Many of the neighbors are overwhelmed with gratitude for all of the support and donations received.
All the donation centers have been influxed. Definitely don't need any clothes. We're all closed as far as I know in the area at the moment because of everybody's generosity, but that might change.
These are all the donations that have come in just for this community. A lot of the local places have even stopped accepting donations because of how many they're getting. We will have a link over on our website for anyone who would like to give monetarily. But for now, I'm reporting in Leander. Katie Pratt, back to you.
And they came out
from the secret disaster.
Yeah, they came out more. Fox News was there a few more days, and but they haven't been back. And it was, you said CBS today?
Yeah.
He got all the
so
shots.
You wanted the church lady video next?
We just did see a bit of it. She was also on this Fox News. We did end up talking to her the day that we went over, one of the days we went to the church, and talking to her about the Bible and stuff, and the book of Revelation, and calming people down. And so that was a bit of an up point we had, and some people prayed with us, and we had some burgers there, and it was really nice to see all the support for the people at the church. Yeah, you can play this in the background. This is the drone footage of our neighborhood here while the water was flowing down through the rivers. And again, the support, there's been so many donations. There's like just endless amounts of clothes. People were still for days and days. Look at the devastation, days and days dropping off jeans, t-shirts, clothes, everything you could possibly imagine. But no actual roadway was being built. And the one that they're building now, we're hoping that they make some good progress. But it looks like it's going to be slowed down. And we don't know, because the SWAT team came in and everything was really slowing progress down on the first day. So we'll see. This is further up the creek.
Nope.
This is some areas that homes were all along on both sides of this that are just completely gone.
It was just a wall of water, like 30 foot tall.
Lots of diapers, lots of formula, tons of that. There's been pizzas. There's been the families that are at the bottom of the road here. They've been
people cooking burgers and hot dogs,
well
feeding.
fed. All the people that have been in helping try to clean up some of these areas that you're seeing on the screen right now have been well fed. So that part has been great. The locals, the church, HEB.
HEB is probably the biggest disaster relief.
Amazing.
That's the grocery store, everybody, if you don't know what HEB is.
It's a grocery store. And they were the ones that have been down here giving us food. And that area right there, I think they've got fixed already, that you're seeing on the bottom of the screen. So they have been actually getting some of these areas back up and running. It's just the whole community that we live with, we've all been basically quarantined and trapped in here because they don't think that we can get across the bridge, which we can.
Yeah. So even though these people were heavily damaged here, they can still go to and fro as much as they want. Nobody else is trapped other than our neighborhood. It's so
and it's
crazy.
A pretty large size group.
Yeah.
Here, as you can see, this is a dry creek bed. It sometimes gets, I don't know, 10 inches of water flow through it.
After a heavy rain, usually.
Yeah, it turned into whitewater rapids, and it's still, to this moment, flowing water. And we're hoping that they're able to get the low water crossing in so we can get back to work. And it got down to the point today where military and SWAT helicopters had to show up to stop the people from actually crossing the bridge. Now, we did try to say to everybody, that's it, go home. Like, if the cops and the people that are working on the bridge aren't willing to help and allow the people of our neighborhood to get across, there's no point in going against them. They were put into place. They're the ones with the power. They have guns. They can keep you safe, and they can also take you out. And it was a tough situation for them to be in. And I don't think that they really wanted to be in that position, but they signed up for it. That's the job. That's what they get paid. And it's hard for them to watch us and the people that need to get out to go and pay their families. Look at how much devastation there is here. It's just, these are houses that you see on the side of the road here. These were houses that you can see. My heart goes out to them too. The cops, all the firemen, everybody that's been trying to help, they're just doing their job. It's the people who are in charge. Charles, he's the one that should have had gravel, and he should have had culverts and backhoes and skid steers here the second day.
6 days ago, yeah.
Sunday, the work should have started. And the fact that they're still to this day, even tomorrow and the next day, finding dead bodies. And you know, what about these victims? They deserve a better job than what they've been given as their way out. And as for us, I'm looking forward to them getting the low water crossing in so we can get back to work. And my heart goes out to the entire community. And that's all I can say. I'll continue to pray for everybody, and we're just going to continue to do our best. At least we do have power and water, and the internet was turned back on. And I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for those things.
So what do you say we take a quick break here? Then when we come back, we'll get into the nitty gritty regarding cloud seeding and weather modification.
Let's do it.
Automatic emergency remote controller. See the static kicking through the comb over. Plutocratic, the rich kids are at it again. The 1950s glass bottle Coca-Cola. The fries are crispy, a humdrum sleepover. You must have missed me when I was getting high in the end. And don't cry, I'll never change my mind. And don't cry, say it one more time, time. Yeah, she's my cherry, she's my cherry bomb, she's my cherry, she's yeah, she's my cherry, ready to kill anyone. Yeah, she's my cherry bomb. Lucky strike, clinging to an index finger. Another show off, indie rock and roll singer. Leather jacket, falling apart at the seams, the seams, the seams. And don't cry, I'll never change my mind. And don't cry, say it one more time, time. Yeah, she's my cherry, she's my cherry bomb, she's my cherry, she's yeah, she's my cherry, ready to kill anyone. Yeah, she's my cherry bomb. Yeah, she's my cherry, she's my cherry bomb, she's my cherry, she's ready to kill anyone. Yeah, she's my cherry bomb. She's my cherry, she's my cherry bomb, she's my cherry, she's yeah, she's my cherry, ready to kill anyone. Yeah, she's my cherry bomb.
And we are back. And just wanted to point out that we are not the only ones that are flooding everybody. We're not the only victims in the world. In fact, there's a whole big group of victims. Seems like more and more and more. So Chicago flooded, North Carolina flooded, Arizona flooded. And we're the type of guys that go, you know, is there some sort of pattern here? Is there something taking place? Is this just all a coincidence? Now, we do know that from the Holy Scriptures, the Bible says that the sea and waves are going to be roaring. People will be, vexed with perplexity over that. And so these are things that we're expecting, but they're really starting to show up right now, right?
Absolutely. Worldwide. Absolutely.
Chicago floods. So we've all seen these radars, and now we're starting to pay greater attention to the way these storms are forming. the shapes they take, the way they come out in plumes and spread like that, because now we have mass media talking about cloud seeding. I just got to show everybody this. You've probably never seen anything like this before, because on the scale over here, let me zoom in a little bit so that might be able to see this a little bit better. Most of the time, people are familiar with seeing pink as probably the worst color on one of these maps, because that represents 10 to 15 inches of rain. I don't know how many people have experienced 10 to 15 inches of rain. I have experienced it here in Texas before, but they have another color after that. That's the 15 to 20 inch range right there. And then this light gray color here, that is the greater than 20 inches. I didn't know they had a scale that goes like that. So if we come back here and look at this right here, where you see the gray right here, this is where we have other radars indicating 22.5 inches. And this right here is our neighborhood.
That's Sandy Creek right there.
Yeah, so it is a bowl in the hill country right here that collects all this 22.5 inches, and then it rushes it into the creek that goes past us. And that's the reason why we've seen this devastating damage. So when you look at this, we had the greater than 20. There's one little speck out here. This is out towards the Marble Falls area that they had some heavy rain out here as well. But this is Travis County. This is the county seat of the state. This is where the capital is. This is Austin, and here we still are stuck. This is really the worst disaster response possible.
Yeah.
I'm glad the people in Kerrville are getting some attention, but also disappointed that we are not.
Little bit of coverage, thankfully, due to some of the people that have been coming down here over and over again, calling the news and continuing to push. And we're really grateful for those citizens that aren't even stuck in here. And they've been the ones also that have been doing big pushes.
Yeah, so the graphics are, people have probably seen these, 100 billion gallons of water, more than Niagara Falls in a day, that landed in the Kerrville and the Mystic Camp region, except they only got 12.5 inches of rain.
Yeah.
Right at their peak, and we got 22.5. So
double.
How many billions or trillions possibly? Trillions. So here we've got 256 flash flood warnings across, of course, 33 states in only 6 days. So something is going on, people. We are not coincidence theorists. Catastrophic floods in the last 5 days. Texas, North Carolina, New Mexico, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Illinois, Massachusetts, Virginia, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Iowa, Maryland, Wisconsin, and how many more are coming?
So when you start to see that, Jason scrolls again, that's as of July 10th, you could probably add some more counties to this, more states and counties to this flood. Now, this is just in the United States alone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not weather manipulation, it sure seems like the birth pangs of the Great Tribulation, or the birth pangs of the Great Tribulation were actually caused by man, too.
Yeah, cloud seeding possibly. So here's one of those posts. The U.S. weatherman says the quiet part out loud. Yeah. What's he saying here?
It's picked up speed, folks. This will move to the metro between 6 and 7 o'clock this evening. And I also want to point out this big area of blue, that's what we call military chaff. And the military releases some things in the atmosphere. I know. Down near Fort Sill, that's been riding north and east, and the radar is picking that up right there.
Military chaff being picked up on radar.
Why he said that, we'll never know.
That is military chaff coming from this base.
So they're not laying down chaff, anti-missile, so chaff is used to deflect bombs.
Heat-seeking missiles, the things that you see in sci-fi movies, right?
Yeah, well, and ground-based bullets and other things that they shoot up into the air, they lay the chaff down for cover. It's just the craziest why he said that. I don't know.
So chaff is like a flare, and we're going to be getting into the details of how the cloud seeding technology is based off of flares. Well, except for Augustus's new drones, where they just spray it without the flare, right?
Yeah, he's got lots of ways.
So we're going to be talking about cloud seeding, everybody, and this right here is a ground-based cloud seeding system. I want you to become familiar with this. Apparently, these are all over the place, and they're very simple little setups. Let's learn about our ground-based cloud seeding.
County, home to one of the longest running cloud seeding operations in the country.
There you go. That's how it works. Pretty simple, huh? They got these tubes, they've got a spark arrestor around it, and inside there's a flare. They have some wires that go to the flare, that go into a control box.
Smoke.
We've got some ground-based cloud seeding equipment right here, and we're going to get to hear all about how it works and see it in action. Let's check it out. Cloud seeding is the most common type of weather modification, and it has many different techniques and applications. Today, it's mostly used to increase rain and snowfall, reduce the size of hail, and reduce fog at airports.
Traditionally, cloud seeding has been done from the air.
There's two new things.
So airplanes have
two new things added. Yeah, reduce hail
and reduce fog.
And reduce fog. Those are two new things that Augustus hasn't really brought up.
Yeah, let's get it all out there and talk about it all, everybody.
Had racks on them where these same flares are positioned on the airplane, and the airplane flies into the storm. So in order to reduce the cost of the client and reduce our carbon footprint, we've been able to station these on the ground. Now we can do this in places where weather permits.
Behind a barbed wire fence designed to keep away curious cattle, the cloud seeding gear awaits the right kind of weather.
So these are referred to as AHOGs. That stands for Automated High Output Ground Seeding Systems. We've got three primary components of our equipment here. The first is the control module
So basic.
you see behind me. Then we have our actual cloud seeding flares. The cameras for security. It also helps us observe weather conditions in real time and make sure that all of the equipment is operating correctly during a storm. Inside these canisters are the flares with the seeding agents. The canisters are used as spark arresters, so they prevent sparks from reaching the ground. So if we pull off the spark arrestor, you can see the flare inside. The ignition of the flares are controlled from the control module that's behind us. So the white triangle there is a cell service
like a Roman
modem,
candle.
and then the solar panel keeps us powered. Inside we have a battery and then a control board. So the control board interacts with the software. We're linked or synced with the software in Utah currently.
So this thing is as simple as a solar-powered gate
from that remote location.
Because of the lack of clouds and proper wind conditions, today is not a good day for cloud seeding at all. But Garrett and his team are going to light a flare for us anyway, so we can show you how it works. There's just one small problem. The battery in the control module died shortly before we arrived, but it's nothing a little jump start can't fix. After a little juice from Garrett's truck, it's time to set off the flare.
The primary seeding agent in this is silver iodide. Silver iodide is a simple compound. It's polar in nature like water, so there's...
All right, so silver iodide is the main chemical that's being used for cloud seeding, and this is going to be something that we're talking about on Flash Flood Fridays going forward is whether or not this compound is safe. There's a lot of evidence that shows this is not something that you want to have raining down into your waterways and your food supply.
Absolutely.
There's chemical properties that help attract water molecules to silver iodide. It's also structured molecularly similar to ice. So it helps generate or helps spawn the generation of ice buildup, and then that becomes a hailstone or a snowflake that falls here primarily as rain. So one flare like this has billions and billions of potential sites for that water to congregate around. We'll launch them in sequences. We watch the radar to see when bands of the highest concentration of liquid water.
So they're just lighting a flare at ground level.
Yeah.
And then it's being whisked away into the atmosphere. And this is what they call cloud seeding.
Well, he was letting you know that what they do is they look for bands of precipitable water, PW. Once they see these precipitable conditions that are good to actually have a spout, what they do is they then turn a spout on in those precipitable clouds, right? And they say that they wouldn't usually rain down, but they just give it a little nudge.
Yep.
And we try to target those high concentration pockets in the storm systems. We'll launch between 3 and 20 flares for a typical storm. Once the flare is lit, it takes a little bit of time to carry up into the clouds, and once it's up at the proper elevation, it'll take about 20 minutes to instigate the rain or the snow process. So overall, you're probably looking at about 40 to 45 minutes before you're seeing.
What's really interesting about the whole situation that we went through is, so Kerr County and Kerrville had their flood on the early morning of the 4th, and ours took place on the early morning of the 5th. So when we were podcasting, if you go back and watch our podcast from July 4th, you'll hear the fireworks that were being shot off. And, we would like to know if those fireworks had silver iodide, or what type of lattice work did those chemicals have that were being shot up into the sky, because they did go on for quite a while, and they were shooting those fireworks into the sky. And or were they actual silver iodide bombs that were being Roman candles being lit off as well, even stronger than these types of flares, in conjunction with also flying above the clouds and dropping the silver iodide from planes at the same time as they were shooting off what we thought could have been fireworks. But we thought, it's a bit odd. They're out there. It was raining. Who would be out there shooting fireworks off in the rain? But it was that night that actually we had the 22.5 or more. The scale stopped counting at that volume.
Yeah, I think I do have. Let's see if I have that image here. Is it this one? No, not that one. I gotta get these images out there because here we go. So this was another radar shot that we had that when you zoom in here, this is where we're getting the 22.5 inch number from, and this dot is on our house.
Sandy Creek.
Oh. Let's go back to the video.
And that's why we're stationed miles away from our target area. So we have very specific targets that drain directly into major water basins, and we time these events to correlate with rain above those intended targets. One of the biggest questions, or most common questions that we receive, relates to the safety of silver iodide. Silver is biologically inert, so it will not interact in a negative fashion with plant or animal life. Iodine is actually a critical building block of a number of hormones in animals, so it is safe as well. In fact, if you look at table salt or baby formula, you'll see iodine in its molecular form as an additive in those commonly consumed substances.
But what about?
All right, so he wrote it off real quickly, but if you do a search for silver iodide and whether or not it's safe, you're going to find out that it's considered toxic for waterways and aquatic life. Right? You don't want that kind of rain running into your rivers if it's toxic to your aquatic life, people. Please.
What about other potential adverse effects? Could cloud seeding affect communities outside the targeted areas?
Sometimes there is a concern about robbing Peter to pay Paul. So are we benefiting California at the expense of Nevada? And the truth is that storm systems, when they move over off the coastline, only about 10% of that moisture is going to fall in the form of precip. And we're looking at increasing that to about 11% because we have about a 10% increase in the natural storm's productivity. So going from 10% to 11% in California has an insignificant impact on the amount of precip that will still be available in Nevada or Utah.
Built into the program are kind of checks to make sure that we don't come across anything negative. When there are high intensity storms, we won't seed. If the reservoirs are full, we won't seed. If the rivers are flowing a lot, maybe near flood capacity, we won't seed.
We hope that the conditions.
All right, so we had high precipitable water values here in Texas.
99 percentile.
And we have, what's the name of the Augustus Rainmaker? They were seeding on the 2nd. They said that it doesn't persist that long. Now, these are the things that they're saying publicly. We're conspiracy guys. We don't always trust what's being said publicly. We're just looking at what technology is recognized as being available and out there. And here we're seeing it. This is the kind of stuff to be watching for. This is a cloud seeding station.
And they talk about just using like 5 Skittles worth of the silver iodide. Well, what happens if Augustus and his crew or some other group came up onto the Sandy Creek Round Mountain and started blasting, hundreds and hundreds of Skittles over and over and over and over and over and over again? Would you have a 22.5 inch downpour like we did have if that was the case? Because all we're getting is this like, oh, it's safe. We only put this small amount in. Well, what happens if they took their opportunity to wash out the gutter, so to speak?
Yeah. So for those that are following the Rainmaker and Augustus, he was talking at some sort of meeting in Florida. He was trying to convince them to not ban cloud seeding in Florida. And 2 days ago, we get this report that Florida is now banning cloud seeding.
Bans people from trying to modify the weather in Florida.
First Alert weather meteorologist Sammy Squires is asking a climate expert about the possible impacts, and she's talking to a company that tests cloud seeding.
All right, I just got to mention, Florida is one of the worst candidates I've ever heard of in my life for cloud seeding because it's a swamp. The state is literally a swamp. It rains all the time. It's like trying to cloud seed Seattle or the UK.
England.
I mean, these are not the places that need cloud seeding.
On July 1st, Senate Bill 56 officially became law in Florida, banning the release of chemicals and other substances into the atmosphere for the purpose of altering factors like temperature, weather, climate, or sunlight intensity.
I did some digging and found while NOAA does not participate in cloud seeding or other weather modification projects,
The Weather Modification Reporting Act of 1972 requires anyone who intends to engage in weather modification in the U.S. to provide a report to NOAA at least 10 days prior to the activity. I looked through their database and found Rainmaker Technology Corporation, who in January filed a precipitation.
So all you need is silver iodide. I mean, oh yeah, we require you to let us know what you're doing, right? It's just a word of mouth requirement. This isn't something like super hard to do.
Yeah, since 1972, you got to file out a piece of paper like this and say, I intend to cloud seed.
I mean, what if you don't file the piece of paperwork and you do it? I mean, like, people follow the rules all the time. I mean, come on, everybody, listen to this.
Precipitation enhancement project on the Gulf coastline.
We fly drones into clouds to disperse material that induces precipitation, to mitigate drought, wildfire risk, enhance water supply for farms, utilities, and governments.
Augustus Dorico is the CEO of Rainmaker. He tells me while they don't have an operational program in Florida, his goal is to regulate and safely increase water supply at the...
His goal is to regulate this, being the Rainmaker, weather modification. This guy just jumps out of nowhere. The Peter Thiel fellow just jumps up. Oh, I'm the Rainmaker, and I want to regulate this process, right?
Yeah, and we'll try to keep it quick. I know we've got a few more links to get through. I know it's late tonight. What that means is that Peter Thiel offered groups of people basic granting for businesses and startups for people that would drop out of colleges and universities. So if you got into Peter Thiel's fellowship, you were given a grant or a set amount of money to start your own business, to do these things instead of actually going to university and college.
The discretion of the state and potential customers like farms.
I just care about our country having like the best technology for its agriculture and for its industry, and cloud seeding as of the last few years, because we've proven that it works.
I listened to Dorico explain while many are concerned about flooding from man-made rain, it only produces up to a few centimeters of rain, which would be very hard to flood a place with cloud seeding alone.
It's short term, it's fine, but if you constantly...
So this is the ultimate smiley guy. He's supposed to be some like assistant professor, and he's the one that's given the job of talking about the downside to cloud seeding here. So let's see what his concerns are. Yeah, he's very happy about this.
Constantly release a lot of things into the atmosphere because we don't have the records records that's not long enough.
I also asked about any long-term effects of cloud seeding to E.J. Zhu, an assistant professor with FAU's Geosciences Department.
Basically, in order for us to see long-term effects, you need to have this going on for a long period of time and using a lot of material to actually figure out if there is a long-term impact.
Yes, and that will cost. If we realize that it's a negative impact, then it's too late to stop. That means
if we find out it's a negative impact, it's too late. And he's so happy about that. It's too late. It's too late.
It's already been there for a lot of a long-term period.
Zoo tells me when you're modifying the weather to make it rain in one place, you're also changing where it won't rain.
A lot of studies focus on just one small region, but maybe they also need to study the surrounding regions to see if weather modification change the rainfall for surrounding region as well. Are they getting less rainfall because of we modified the rainfall amount in region A? Does it mean we see a lot of decrease in rainfall in region B or C?
Zoo says weather modification can create challenges for future climate research.
So,
all right, the assistant professor. So we're just going to break through this idea that cloud seeding doesn't happen. Weather modification is real, and it's coming out now that they've been doing it for a long time. Listen to people that have been doing it.
California with Weather Modification. Weather Modification is a company that does cloud seeding operations in the Tuolumne River Basin, thereby helping to increase rainfall and snowfall in the region. How this works is a weather modification pilot uses a plane like this to fly into the center of a storm. You can only seed clouds when a storm is already underway. And what the pilot does is he shoots off these flares that contain a chemical called silver iodide. When silver iodide is injected into the cloud, it helps cloud particles crystallize, thereby increasing either rainfall or snowfall. They've seen results that indicate these cloud seeding operations have increased precipitation by 3 to 5% in the region, which is really helpful when you have California in such a long drought.
Yeah, a lot of people say 15%. Here's
more of the similar reification.
This is a little bit longer video that maybe we'll skip. This one's a little bit interesting, talking about Dubai. So they're using a little bit different technology than the silver iodide. And this is the kind of stuff that we wish that there was a public discussion about safer alternatives to cloud seeding, because we're not against more rain, but we're against poisoning everybody by using toxic chemicals that will just build up in the environment because they're not water soluble.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about this last week, and now we're going to do a deep dive with Davo. Dubai is making it rain in a sweltering desert by zapping clouds with electricity using drones.
Fascinating, isn't it?
So much to ask, but let's take it, and then we'll do a few questions.
Before we talk about what's happening in Dubai, let's talk about cloud seeding in general, because a lot of people, I don't think, understand what cloud seeding is. And this has been going on for decades, by the way. This is not something that's brand new. But traditionally, what cloud seeding is, it involves using aircraft or drones or even some cannons to push silver iodide up high into the clouds. Why silver iodide? Because what that has the same crystallized structure as ice. So once it gets up into the clouds, it starts to accumulate ice on it and these large raindrops, which helps, especially in a cloud mass that's not really going to rain. It helps to bring rain. And
so this is something that we recognized during the downpours that we had here, was the massive size of the drops.
Huge water drops, just massive. We filled up buckets in a matter of 20 minutes. Buckets and a huge garbage pail in the matter of 45 minutes, full.
Huge drops. I mean, you're getting splattered by, they're like mini water balloons.
Especially snow down.
So it works.
It does work, marginally. But the problem with silver iodide through the years has been this, is that they feel it could be harmful to aquatic life. Okay. So over in Dubai, which is what you're seeing here, they took it a different step. And what they basically did, they had a fleet of drones that flew up into cloud cover, and they used electrical charges to force water droplets to combine into larger ones.
So not silver, not cloud seeding as we know.
No, they're not using the traditional silver iodide, which takes out the environmental aspect of that, okay? So they're using just electricity to create larger raindrops. Why larger raindrops? Because in Dubai, they only average about 4 inches of rain per year, as most of the rain that falls out of the clouds evaporates. Because it's so hot, it's so dry, and the water molecules are so tiny. So they're trying to stimulate by using electricity these droplets to be larger. Hence, they can make it to the ground. Now, I will tell you that the jury is still kind of out a bit on whether or not this was a fluke, whether this is something that can work long term. So they need to continue with these drones, and they're going to continue to do this. Yes, Mr. Rhodes?
So, assuming it works and it wasn't a fluke, why not use this out in the western U.S. where all these wildfires are and the drought is going on? Could this not help us
That's
here?
a fantastic question, and they've been trying. And this is stuff that, first of all, it's very expensive too. You're talking about millions and millions of dollars, which is fine when you're trying to alleviate a drought.
Sure.
It cannot work with wildfires. Here's the thing. You can't just throw silver iodide or electricity into a clear sky and it rains. It doesn't work that way. You have to have the right cloud structure, the right cloud height. They have to be tall, getting up well into the freezing layers. Then you can try to stimulate that process. And they've done that out west. During the winter time when they get days and days of cloud cover, they've done that, and they've noticed they've been able to increase the snowfall pack 5 to 15%. But the area and the weather, Russell, around wildfires is not conducive to that type of cloud cover, so you can't do it. In other words, we need to treat the drought, which will then alleviate the wildfires. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And that's the way it has to go. 5 to 15% increase in precipitation out west due to this. It's a start.
Okay.
And it's a good start, especially over in Dubai for those folks who are just trying to generate more rainfall. Now, on the opposite side about, we're done. We don't need more time.
So, treating the drought is the way that you stop the wildfires from taking place. And what we just witnessed was a drought treatment process here in Austin, Texas. We are in a drought. Maybe not now, because the lakes, aquifers, and rivers are now going to be full.
Yeah, so I had done a little bit of research here earlier. We had a comment from Joe Moore. They use aluminum, barium, strontium in the solar radiation management. And so those are the things that we've been hearing for like the last 8 years related to chemtrails, right? Chemtrails. And so it's the aluminum, barium, strontium combo. And I just want to point out here that, so this is what ChatGPT told me when I was I wanted to know if regular fireworks would act in the same manner that these flares do. And so I asked for an MSDS style summary of the ground-based seeding flares, and the composition is silver iodide, right? This is the ice nucleating agent critical for cloud cold seeding. Fuel, aluminum or magnesium powder.
That's what's in fireworks.
There is your aluminum right there. Oxidizers, strontium and barium nitrate, potassium nitrate.
Again, those are what are used to make different colors, I believe, in fireworks.
No, but this is the actual composition of the flares that they use for cloud seeding.
Okay, yeah, continue.
Yeah, so the actual composition of the flares being used that we've seen is the silver iodide, aluminum or magnesium powder, strontium or barium nitrate, potassium nitrate. Then they have a binder and some additives, right? So this is the chemical composition of the flares that they're using. So when you say aluminum, barium, strontium, these are the things that are being released by the cloud seeding flares.
Yeah,
right?
not
That doesn't
by the
have to be
pet planes.
right. So just wanted to get that out there. Did you want to go through some more links, or did you want to save some of this for another time?
Yeah, well, we're going to have to continue to cover this over and over again. I don't want you to lose the positions of your links. I do want to go more into this, but I feel like we've given quite a bit. We've now got new information where they're even able to maybe so-called electrocute different areas of clouds with different types of high-flying drones, and I find that fascinating. So now we're starting to see other areas of weather manipulation, not including silver iodide. So interestingly enough, what different projects did they use here? So if you could do one more thing is, could we check live, is Austin in the hill country, are we still in a drought? Did the water level rise high enough in Lake Travis and surrounding Lake Buchanan and other lakes like that? Are we out of the drought now? Which would then be the excuse to, well, not excuse, but that's how you manage forest fires is you stay out of droughts, because then the ground's wet enough and things don't have the ability to catch on fire as easy. So we're looking for, you know, when you follow the money, well, if we were in a drought and we had this disastrous, basically washing out of the gutter situation take place, did it achieve lifting us from the drought band? It doesn't look like so. If that's a live update that you have on the screen, the yellow indicates that we are still dry. I don't know what it would be like to be out of that.
One day ago, this map came out, so we still are in dry, and Kerrville's still in severe.
So, you know, what I'm pointing out here, Jason, is these are the areas where they are manipulating the weather. Okay, they're not doing it in Seattle. They're not doing it in England. They're doing it in Dubai. They're doing it in California. They're doing it in West Texas and the hill country that was just absolutely devastated, where all these lives have been lost. They are literally cloud seeding in these areas. So I'm just pointing it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that might be a wrap on this Flash Flood Friday, but we'll see, everybody. This might become a regular podcast, because this whole cloud seeding thing is a topic now, and we're going to be watching storms to see if there's evidence of cloud seeding. We're going to be showing people. I've got test strips on order. Can't actually receive them because we're trapped and we can't get deliveries, but we've got containers where we collected the water. I want to test for silver in the water, and I want people to become aware of the toxic effects that the silver iodide has, and I want people to actually rise up and stand up against intentional flash flooding and toxic effects from this type of activity.
Absolutely. Thank you for the timely presentation, and everybody that's tuned in here, there's going to be much more to come. Please hit the subscribe button. I don't know if the notification bell even works here. I'm just grateful if any of you even somehow found this channel. We are in such a sandbox, and that term is created by a group of computer engineers to actually box and wall off the public to our content. And we're just grateful that somehow you managed to find your way through that wall. And make sure you stay tuned. There's going to be a podcast on Sunday. I'm going to go through some of the week headlines outside of these flash floods and all the other weather manipulation. I'm going to talk about what the other news that's taken place here, mostly predominantly in North America this week. And I'll have brand new music, brand new memes, and a little bit of spirituality with some memes and practices that we're also doing to make our lives better through, you know, just working on ourselves. So make sure you're subscribed and you're tuned in. There'll be a link to the Rumble, as well as in the description box of this video. You can find our Telegram group, Reality Check and Reality Check Chat, where you can get involved in the conversation and share with us what your thoughts are, as well as our home team Yahawashai Telegram group as well. We're hoping to see you there. And again, I'm grateful that anybody that's tuned in, please share this podcast with anyone that you know that's looking to further their research and find more information about what's going on here in 2025.
Where's the only place people will get this content, brother?
Only in the Yahawashai News Network.
I've been in love, broken too many times. I know the signs, your poison makes me feel so alive. Is this when it kicks in and we learn what it is to break? Pull me back down. I don't care, 'cause I need you now. Could this be something that falls apart? Could you just tell me? I know you're gonna break my heart. What you waiting for? What you waiting for? Let the knife sink a little more. I'm holding on to every word. The moment passes and we never know.